What's up, guys? Today I thought I'd do something a little more long form, and I'm here to talk to you about drums. Well, specifically programming your drums. And when it comes to EDM, there are two main types of drum grooves you're going to find, and that's 4x4 or breakbeat. So 4x4 is your house, your techno, your trance, psytrance, hardcore, and broken beat genres are breaks, D&B, and sometimes glitch hop and dubstep. So for you today, I made a house beat. That is what 4x4 sounds like. So a couple things right off the bat is I say for any good drum pattern, you want a call and answer between three elements. And in house, it's going to be your kick, your clap, and I would advise you to have a snare pattern or a main hi-hat pattern that acts as the third unit in your groove. And I've got a snare pattern here. Very common snare pattern. It's found in UK Garage, whatnot. And this snare pattern will actually stay the same if we transpose this from 4x4 to a breakbeat. One of the first things in a broken beat, your clap or your snare or whatever makes your beat to becomes an entire element on its own. And the second thing that happens is your second kick, it gets moved over by an eighth note. And it's going to sound exactly something like this. Pretty cool. Now we're just going to take this to the next level. One little thing is because my clap over here feels kind of naked, you want your beat 2 element. Here it's a clap, sometimes it's a snare. You want some punch and low end drive to it. So I'd say just put a little piece of a kick underneath. There we go. So to hear the difference, this is without, and this is with. So now it sounds like a lower element. Loop it all together, and you've got something kind of like this. And how I processed it, the snare is being sidechained a little bit to the kick trigger, and it's all being clipped at the end to give you that nice crunch. Now, so where did breakbeats come from? And the answer is they came from resampling drum solos and using those drum solos in electronic music for the drums. Now, the first ever drum solo to be sampled was from the song Amen Brother. Therefore, you got the Amen break, and that's the one used in all of D&B. So here I'm just going to show you some of the first breaks that were ever used in electronic music. So if we speed our breakbeat up to drum and bass speed, you'll notice that our beat sounds kind of like this. And then go back over here. Sounds pretty much exactly the same. So a couple things to remember is in a breakbeat versus 4x4, your hi-hats are regular. So your hi-hats keep the time, and your kick makes the rhythm, and your clap usually doesn't move. There are some drum patterns where it does move, but we'll cover those later. In house, it's the opposite. 4x4, the kick is always the same. You get your rhythm from the other elements. That's the difference. Now, we've sort of covered how a break sounds at 130. This is 170. And now the part you were all waiting for. Let's go down to 70 BPM and start talking dubstep. Wow. Now, why am I covering dubstep? I find in my experience, or dubstep is the genre that has the most variation in its drum patterns and, the most weird drum patterns sound good in dubstep somehow. So that's why I'm going down to dubstep land because that's where all the cool drum breaks are. And I'm going to show you the different ones you might use. So once again, this is still the basic breakbeat. So you look at it, element 1, 2, element 3 is moved over, 4 is exactly the same. But what if I were to tell you, you could move the second kick an eighth note the other way? And you might notice that I didn't copy that over. So usually when you're programming a breakbeat for dubstep, you're gonna have 1 bar of one pattern and 1 bar of another pattern. And you're gonna stitch those together, and that's your drum groove for the whole song. Very, very common. You might be thinking you've heard this drum pattern before. Yes, you have. It is the drum pattern for Turn Down for What by Lil Jon. I'm going to add an 808. Very, very common pattern. Back to dubstep land. Before I show you some other drum patterns, here's something cool that dubstep has, trap has, that other genres don't, is stutter kicks. So stutter kicks are an anticipation, and what that means is you shove a bunch of crap before something important to tell you something important's coming. So I'm going to put some stutter kicks before beat 1 of the halfway point in this loop. And actually, while I'm at it, another cool thing you can do is stutter claps. So this is cool. You'll notice that the stutter kicks and the stutter claps are the exact same rhythm. They just happen before beat 1 of the middle and before the phrase repeats again. Let's hear it all together. Boom, we just created forward motion. Now I'm going to show you another very common drum pattern. I think after the basic breakbeat, it's the most common one. I do not know the name for this breakbeat, but I'm just going to call it the West Coast bass beat. So if you listen to commercial dark dubstep or trap or West Coast bass, like Peekaboo, Tavu, everyone, they're going to use this drum beat almost exclusively. Why does it sound good? It's got a special rhythm in it called a clave, and it also sounds great with 808s. Pretty cool. So the next breakbeat is essentially, we're going to now go into the realm of hip hop. So up to 100, you can use this beat in dubstep too, but hip hop has this weird drum beat that isn't breakbeat or 4x4. It's where you have a kick on every beat of the bar. Yeah. See, every beat is covered. And now this gets to the point where I don't know if it's a breakbeat or not, because it has that doosh sound, but if you wanted, you could cram hi-hats in the offbeat. It's in the middle. And another beat I'd like to show you, it's like the hip-hop beat, but you move that one over by a 16th note. And this is my favorite breakbeat. The name is My Favorite Breakbeat. That's what I'm going to fucking call it. Bring it down to dubstep land. Sounds like this. I really like the forward motion in this beat, and there's just something about the extra space you get by cramming that drum over. And that's really going to be the last breakbeat I'll cover today. However, there's a third type of drum beat. So 4x4, the kicks are regular. Broken beat, you move one kick or add some more. The third type of drum beat is where the snare or the clap moves. And I'm just going to take this beat and make it one of beat type 3. There we go. So if you noticed, exactly the same as before, but now the clap moved. And while we're in this whole family of beats, we can call them the steppa family. There is a beat in this family called the steppa. And yeah, let's just look at some of its cousins. So this is another drum beat where the second kick becomes a second clap. Usually you'll use this with like a stutter kick or some kind of fill. Boom. And then to find the other beats in this family, we just make this pattern a little longer. So this next drum pattern's closer to the main family. It's kind of on the border. You're gonna hear this in a lot of halftime D&B. So go up to 90-ish. Pretty cool. And I forget some of the other beats, but I'll finish off with the Moonbaton beat, which goes like this. I'm just gonna make it out of the other. Control L. And yeah, I'm finishing off with Moonbaton. So Moonbaton, 100 BPM. You have an entire genre where the drums sound like this. The second clap gets moved over a half step. And that's all we have time for now. So let me know comments, questions, concerns, stuff you wanted me to elaborate on, blah, 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 blah. Feel free to post your tracks that feature some of these drum beats and let me know what you think. Have a nice day. Woo!